Hello and welcome to the second part of this session. In the first part, we did talk about what plagiarism is and how it is important to understand what it is, what happens if you do it, uh, and so on. So we did come across some terminologies like uh, quoting, paraphrasing, referencing in our earlier video. So basically, these terms are nothing but providing evidences in academic writing. We have to provide some kind of evidence that this work is my work, this is the original work. And therefore, we have to be very, very clear on how we have to provide these evidences in academic writing. Many of the people may, call it silly in the sense that you'll have to paraphrase the same thing. That means writing it in your own words. The same thing, you have to write it in your own words. Okay. So people may call it silly, but uh, that's the ground rules. You set the ground rules that way. You start with paraphrasing. Now, paraphrasing is one good way to reduce the similarities in the text. So original text is provided to you. We come across lots and lots of research articles. We read them. We keep notes, make notes for that. And then we come across with writing our own part, uh, which is in a way a narration, a description, argumentation, and so on and so forth. So it is important for us to make notes first. The process in which academics or the students also, copy paste the information from published sources and paste it around in their own work and then try to maneuver with the texts, like searching for the synonyms for the same thing from the thesaurus and dictionaries and other things, maybe making some sentence corrections, changing the voices. That's what I never call as paraphrasing. So that's not the right way as well. So let me just quickly show to you, how evidences are provided in academic writing. So say, for example, I'll have to share my screen. So I'll be sharing it really quickly. Okay, great. So say, for example, this is what I'm, reading today. The context of research misconduct. So maybe this paragraph, similar to individuals in managerial and professional occupations, tenured and tenure-track researchers are subject to considerable performance pressures at the individual, departmental, and organizational levels. Historically, the publisher Paris ethos, that is the notion that one must regularly publish or sustain his or her academic writing. This is something I'm reading out for you as well. Yeah, so I'm again here. So, so I'm just reading out for you to, make you understand what paraphrasing it and how it is done. So say, for example, you have to read this paragraph 2 times or 3 times and get the thoughts behind what has been written. If I want to, write the same aspects in my work to begin with. So what I'm going to do, so I have, say, for example, highlighted these points. And again, I'll read it, say, quickly. So similar to individuals in managerial and professional occupations, we are talking about tenured and tenure track researchers. That means those researchers in the Western world who have got their jobs from the assistant professor level, and now so tenure track is the assistant professor level. Tenured is mostly moving upwards. That means you're an associate now. So they are now subject to considerable performance pressures because that's what we are always subjected to, because we have to publish to showcase that we are doing well in our academic careers for further promotions. So they are under considerable performance pressures. So historically, the publisher Paris ethos, the notion that one must regularly publish to sustain the career, has been one example of the pressure. So this is about this. And then such strain is often acute for junior scholars who face potential termination if their publication records do not meet promotion and tenure rewards. And then like their counterparts in other occupants, so we are not going to talk about this. So let's just talk about this part of the work. So now I have read it. Now, what generally people would do is, copying this information and pasting it on the Word files, and then trying to make some adjustments with the words out here. But this is not the right way of doing it. So what can be done? Just make a summary. We have read it, read it twice or thrice, so that you know that what you are talking about. So what I have understood and what I should write in my own words is that professors in the initial stages of their career are at immense pressure to publish. Okay. Why? Because it may lead to their job terminations. The third thing which I found was even the senior professors, or I would write senior academics, have to publish to showcase their academic credibility. All right. So mostly this was the thought process there. However, the last part of it, which can be also talked about, is the publish or perish part. So in academia, like other fields, uh, are subjected, or academics, I would put it rather, academics, like other professions, are subjected to perform, or they would not survive. So basically the common points which came out like this. So it's the summary of what I have uh, read from the piece, and this is how I have made in some points. So this can be the second stage of paraphrasing. The first one being you reading multiple subject topics, and then keeping it in your mind, let your memory work, and then basis that you write down some important points going forward, and then maybe it becomes easy for all of us to write them in proper sentence formation. So that can be easily done. And if you see that this part and the original piece, though they are talking about the same things, the words and other things are very very different over here, that has been used here. So it greatly negates uh, the possibility of plagiarizing. All right. The second part of it is obviously, so after having written this, maybe I'll just remove the bullets and maybe somehow make sense of what I'm writing in terms of, mm, does it make sense to have these. So I'm just doing it for your sake. Otherwise, it would have been a little more polished. Now, it's important for me to also cite, because that will not be complete if I don't cite it. But before that, let me just talk about the evidence which I have to provide. So this thing which has been written by me is called paraphrasing, and this paraphrasing uh, negates the process, and sorry, negates the meanings of plagiarism. This is one thing. The second thing is you have to cite. So citation. What does citation mean? That provide the attributions Okay, that means the name of the contributing authors, the original work of the original work, and provide the dates as well. So when the work was published. So this is citation. The next one is this is part one of providing evidence, part two of providing evidence, and the third part could be references. So this is the third part of again providing the references. But all the things go hand in hand. So if I paraphrase it and if I don't cite it, it still counts as plagiarism. Okay, so if I have done this work, I have to cite it as well. So I'll have to look into who the authors of the work are. So I'll go back and say, okay, this has been published in Studies in Higher Education, and Holtfretter is the first author. Second author is Razek, third is Pratt, and then Mays. So generally we follow, a citation style, which I'll be talking about very quickly. But before that, I would just write here, uh, just take in here, and I say, okay, it's Holtfretter. So Holtfretter, and the year of publication is 2020. So Holtfretter et al. 2020. So this is APA style of publication, of citation. There are other styles as well, which can be easily demonstrated through a reference management site. Okay. Say, for example, something which I have just written. I couldn't really paraphrase it. Say, for example, now I'm talking about taking the entire thing. Say, for example, I have to go back to that part and take out some important aspect here. So let me just find that part quickly. Right. So this is the part. So now if I have to just, talk about this part, or say, for example, something from here, say like indeed white collar crime. So this part exactly. And you can see this has also been cited. That means it's citations in citations. So we'll have to be very careful about it. But let's just take something which is written by the current author. So I'll just sorry, the current work, not the author. So say, for example, I have to put it here, this part. So now this is exactly the copy and paste. Okay, so what should I do about it? This is taking the information word by word, line by line. Even the slashes are taken, commas are taken. So what should I do in this case? So very important part of this is to provide it in quotes. Okay, provide it in quotes, and also remember that you have to take this citation. So you have taken it in quotes. So if you know that some of the information is definitive, it cannot be changed much. And if I paraphrase it, then the meaning changes entirely. It's so important that we go word by word, line by line about it. So it's called verbatim. The word itself, which I am describing, is verbatim. So if I take something verbatim from the original published source, I have to provide it in double quotes. Okay, double quotes. So this part is exactly taken. Now I have to be very careful when I take exact quotation. So I have to also provide the page number from where I have taken from the original source. So I'll go back again and I'll check for the page number where it is. This part was provided. I didn't get it down. So I'll get it somewhere here. Yeah, it's page number 2163. So I'll be writing 2163 here, and that's that. So when I take the direct thing here, and which we also call as quotes, okay, this is the also one of the ways in which we can provide for evidences. So When we take quotes, a verbatim information, then we need to provide the page numbers along with the citation. All right. So this completes that part wherein we are talking about how to paraphrase it. What is the mantra for paraphrasing? Why it goes wrong? Uh, you have to always look at the source from where you have taken the information. If the sources are the information as provided in the source and as written by you yourself in your manuscript, if they resemble a lot of similarities, similar words, then you have not paraphrased well and you need to do it again. All right. The process here is that you do not copy and paste. The process here is to read it well, uh, take it to your memory, and then keep it as some pointers, and then maybe write it as proper sentences. All right. This can reduce the amount of plagiarism or similarity in our text to a greater extent. Uh, Earlier, I used to, go for checking my work on Turnitin or otherwise, but now it is just a normal affair that, okay, if I have to take it just for keeping some kind of evidence that I have not plagiarized, I do it. Otherwise, I don't feel the need of doing it because this entire process of writing on your own negates the possibility that we are, using similar sources. So I hope I have just provided an important aspect as to why and how we can reduce the amount of similarities in our text. Thank you.